Hi everyone, welcome to our new talk of Beyond Perceptions. It's a platform to get real insights about the roles so that you can land at the right role at the right place. Today we are going to talk about one of the most popular role because nation wants to know. And I guess by now you can already guess the role. It's the journalist, and we have with us Mr. Abheet Raghav, who is a senior journalist in Newsmobile. So let's hear from him. What's the life of a journalist in reality? Hi, Abheet. Thanks a lot for joining us in the show.
Thank you, Vinam. It's my pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's pleasure. So I know I already know you, but I think it's good if you can quickly introduce yourself to the audience.
Yeah. As you mentioned, my name is Abheet. I'm a journalist. Currently, I'm working as a senior news editor at this news organization called Newsmobile. It's a digital news outlet based out in Gurgaon. It is all about the digital news, and it's all about news on the mobile. Apart from regular news from politics, sports, and entertainment and beyond, we also are fact checkers. We are the global fact checkers who are doing fact checks that means busting fake news. We all are victim of fake news, those WhatsApp forwards, or the several Facebook posts which includes videos or photos. So we bust those also and educate our readers about the fake news and the misinformation on the internet. So that's it. I'm working here for last 5 years, and that's my journalistic journey, Vidam. And that is whole is my journey as a journalist. Like I have been working here for last 5 years, which is my whole journalist career as a whole.
So still the beginning. So, Abhi,
Yeah.
how did you get started? Like, how did you thought about getting into journalism? Was it like, during the childhood you were watching the TV and you thought, okay, I should be the other side? Or was something else that motivated
Uh,
you?
okay, let's not extreme childhood. I would say when I started thinking about becoming a journalist when after I completed my 12th grade, and there's a buffer period, right? Like when you before you start the college, and this put in your brains what to do, what not to do. And I had two things in mind, either architecture or journalism, and I end up being a journalist at the end of the day. I'll tell you why. That's because while I was in school, while I was a kid, I was really curious about knowing things. Okay, be it education, be it academics, or it's take sports, politics, global affairs. For instance, entertainment gossips as well. I was really curious to know how things are done and what is being done across the globe. And apart from that, I was really keen to know stuff, and I was really keen to know about the insights, what goes behind. And I was also vivid in this current affairs as well. I used to have discussions with my teachers, no matter what subject they used to teach, but I used to have those conversations. So that curiosity resulted in me becoming a journalist. So that's how I became a journalist.
Cool. So after 12, did you pursue a specific degree, I assume, to get into journalism?
Yeah. Yes, I did a bachelor's in journalism from Mahalla Chaturvedi University. It's based in Bhopal. From there, I did my journalism degree for 3 years.
That's really great that you were so clear in in your school days and what you want to pursue. I didn't even know that what I want to do. I just, just went for it. So,
Yeah, I see I see many people of my age, some younger people, and I feel really fortunate enough that I was clear in the thoughts what I want to do. Even I feel the same thing. That gives a really good start right in the beginning of your career.
yeah.
It helps a lot.
And is it mandatory to have the degree in mass communications or journalism specifically to get into this? Or do you think like people who are trying to get into this and maybe who have passed that stage of pursuing masters or, bachelors, can they still get into
Yeah.
this? Is there a way?
So, Veenam, I would say that's really a tricky question. Okay, it should not be, but yes. Technically, you don't need a journalism degree per se. Anyone can become a journalist. Like for instance, these days, anyone with a smartphone can become a journalist. But with my personal experience, I've worked, I have been working for 5 years now, and I have noticed that, one should have a, professional journalism education, okay, to get to know about the nuances and the minute technicalities of the field. Because there are many journalists who doesn't have any proper journalism degree, but they are like, it's thanks to their, self-awareness and zeal to know things, they are excelling in the field. But when it comes to real knowledge, about the field and the minute details, for example, I would say, as minor thing as a place line in a story, in a news report, those minute details are important when you start working. And for that, a proper, journalism, not degree, but yeah, any sort of journalism program should be done by anyone who's aspiring to be a journalist in future. There are many short-term courses. There are diploma courses. Anyone, like, if there is a person who has done some different course, but midway through his or her course, that person decides to pursue journalism as their career, because people change their mind like at any point of given time. So they can go for short-term diploma courses, which is for 1 year, which is like quite more than enough to get nuances of the field.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, indeed, there is a need of professional education, and it could come from anywhere.
Yeah, it's always a plus. Like, you don't need it. Like, if you want to go for the job, you don't exactly need on papers that the journalism degree, but it's always good to have extra knowledge about the field you are willing to work in.
Yeah. And are there any skills that you can start developing, or you should have actually, in order to be a good journalist? Like, could be general skill. For example, like if I talk about engineers, you need to have an eye for problem solving, or you need to have analytical skills. So any such things that you can develop from your childhood, or that always helps and are really important to be a one.
Veeram, anyone who's watching us and who's young, especially those who are in school, they should start reading, especially the newspaper. Okay. Just go through the newspaper. That's really that's the first lesson of journalism. It starts from your school days. Even before you, decide to become a real journalist, just read newspaper, because that is really important. People say like newspapers are fading away. It's not the future. It doesn't have the future. But newspaper is the core base of journalism, and it is not going anywhere, because without newspapers, no one can become a journalist, I would say. But yes, it might be a strong statement, but yes, the language, the way the news is portrayed in a newspaper, no other means can portray in that way, like be it television or digital. Both of them has their own, ups, but newspaper is something which is irreplaceable. Yes, people are not fond of it anymore. The readership is really significantly gone down, over the years, but it is one piece of paper which is really, really important, especially for any journalist.
Cool. Yeah, thanks a lot. I think it gives really good insights about people who are, planning to.
Exactly. So reading is something, yes. So reading is something, people, that is like one mantra. Everyone should, take it up if anyone is willing to be.
I could already sense that you are really passionate about this role, but what gives you the most energy out of everything that you do?
Well, I'll give you, so the sense of realization when you educate people about some stuff, that gives me really big pride about my work. For instance, we do fact checks, as I mentioned, and sometimes I get text messages from people thanking me to informing them that this piece of information or this piece of WhatsApp forward was fake, and that's small. That may be a small thing for people, but for me, it gives a big pride to me that okay, at least I managed to educate someone and help help that person from not spreading misinformation further. Mm-hmm. So those are little things which gives me pride. Then little innovations which I able to do with the organization I'm currently working with. So the best part is it's a startup, so we evolve all the time. Okay, of practice we are doing right now won't be, necessarily that we'll be doing that a month further, because that won't be no. So that's how, like, we are evolving every time, and when that little experiments show positive results, that gives me pride. So these are small things which are like literally makes me going, and because of which, I am still working at the same organization. So.
Okay, now I think a slightly opposite question. So we already got to know like what gives you the energy, but what drains, or maybe what are the most challenging things in this role that you find sometimes frustrating as well?
Well, there are no, fixed hours of work. Sometimes that becomes really, really frustrating. Sometimes you have a date lined up and you have to, say no because you got work. So those are some little things, which frustrates you. But at the end of the day, when the results comes out, then it's all fine. So yeah, like those are little things. For example, like sometimes there is a story which is stuck because of one confirmation, and one confirmation or one comment from a person and that's involved in that story, which you don't get. And at the end of the day, that story is like, it's not filed. So these are some things which which sometimes becomes, frustrating for any journalist, not just me. It's like it's for the field. So anyone who is, willing to get into the field of journalism, that person should be mentally prepared that there won't be any fake jobs. You might might be forced to work or might have to work for say 12 or 16 hours straight. And secondly, there is no certainty of your vacations. Like you might get vacations, but you might not get vacations for 2 straight years. So you should not mind that in this field.
Cool. So how do you choose a topic? Like, is it your choice that you come up with an idea or a story on which you want to work and you start working on it, or is there a process like that you have to go through for working on anything?
Well, it depends on the story. Like, if it's an exclusive story, you got a scoop, you got to research, you got to do your own story. There might be a possibility that your editor might assign you a story to do. It could be like, a general straight story, which you could just simply pick up your phone, call up few people and, get a story, get a comment. In some cases, you have to go out and do some investigative research. You got to, follow a person. There are several practices in this field. So it's not like one particular way to do, get the job done. There are several aspects. You got to just talk to people. That's the main thing. For example, anyone who's in crime journalism, who's a crime journalist, that person got to have, good contacts and, in talking terms with the police officials. Okay, so that, they could help you out with some certain news. They can update you now and like whenever something big happens in that particular area, so that you could go there and report it first. So you have to make such relationships with the local ecosystem. So there are several things. There is no fixed protocol in journalism. So I have to say. That, unlike other MNCs, I would say, where, there is a fixed protocol that, you get into the office at 10 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock you will have lunch, 7 o'clock you leave. That's not the case in journalism. It's completely different.
And I guess the networking and proactiveness is really important, right? That's what I could say.
Absolutely. That's the key. That's the key for any journalist. Yes. We're saying, be it, any field, be it sports journalism, be it entertainment journalism, politics, global affairs, anything. Networking is the key, and with the help of networking, you'll be able to get big exclusive stories. So that's the key in this field.
And do you also get stories assigned by, say, your seniors or your peers who are working and who need extra help on their story?
Yeah, all the time. Your editor can give you out story. Your editor might have some idea, and that he or she might assign you to do a story. It's on you, how well you do it. It's on you, how well you do the research, because research is key in some stories. So it depends on the story as well. It's not like it's all the same. completely different. So that's what I say, to my colleagues, that every day in journalism is different. Whatever was done yesterday, it's done. Like, today is a new day, tomorrow will be a new day. If something is missed today, it's not the case that you'll do it tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case in journalism, unlike other fields where you can, postpone your work. Not in journalism.
Yeah. Now tell us something about your organization, which is Newsmobile.
So Newswell was started in 2014, and I started working in April 2015. So Newswell is a independent news organization. It's completely digital, especially like for the users, on mobile. Our aim is to get serve news on mobile versions. So that's the key of Newsmobile. We, apart from covering all sorts of news from politics, global affairs, sports, entertainment, travel, lifestyle, and general news as well. We are global fact checkers also. We are also partners with Facebook. We help them busting fake news, and personally, like, we have busted over 1,500 fake news so far in a span of around 2 years. So that's something we which is our USP. People send us fake news, and we help them identify whether that particular piece of information is true or not. So this is like Newsmobile as a whole. We are a team of really young journalists. It was founded by our editor-in-chief, Mr. Saurabh Shukla, in 2014. So this is Newsmobile as a whole. Just news on the go, anytime and anywhere. So that's some intro.
Cool. And I guess your main MSP is on the fake news checking, right?
Absolutely. That's our USP.
Cool. And and if you can tell us about your team, maybe, how does it look like? Who are the different roles with whom you work with?
So it's a really small team. It's not a big, humongous team, because it's a startup at the end of the day, and we believe smaller newsrooms produce very, very well stories, and it's efficient as well. And apart from, I would also like to mention that our team is not someone like every team member does everything. It's not like there are people like who will just do video editing, or there are people who will just write stories. It's not like that. Everyone does everything. For instance, and that's the key in the future of journalism. That is going to be the future of journalism, where every journalist need to do everything. Okay, right from the reporting to recording videos, to editing videos, to writing stories, to managing the lights. So basically everything. Anyone who's willing to become a journalist, it's not like that person gets proficiency in one particular beat as in the category of the news story, but that person got to have certain knowledge of professionalism and technical knowledge in handling the camera, handling the lights, different softwares like of video editing and picture editing. So that is what. So to sum it up, I would say everyone has to be jack of all trades. That is the key, and that is going to be the future of journalism. And that is the case in our team as well. To answer your question, this is what our team does. Like, everyone does everything. Like they are also into social media. The sharing of stories, which also becomes very key aspect, especially in news organizations like ours, which is which are new and to reach out to the people. So sharing also becomes very important.
Yeah, I can totally understand. And also, being part of the startup, I think it's the key, right? You have to do everything.
Yeah, absolutely.
Manage everything.
Everything by yourself.
So, Abheet, does brand also matters? Like, like being part of the media industry, you have big brands like, Republic India, or their various news channel, India TV, and so many others. So does it really matter, like, with which brand you are starting, and does that decides your, then the full path of your journey?
I would say in the beginning, yes, it plays I won't say a vital role, but yes, it affects, if you are, switching jobs in future. It affects, yes. When someone, the recruiter says sees a particular brand on your CV, then it reflects nicely. But at the end of the day, it's the person, it's the individual whose work matters at the end of the day. Be it any organization, what will matter is what you have done in in that particular organization. Okay. You could be working in any XYZ organization which is like well established and well known by all. But if you have done some really like not so influential job there, then it won't make any sense. No matter what brand you show, what brand you have worked for, it all depends on what you have done for that particular brand. That's what matters, especially in journalism at the end of the day.
Last question before we move to a fun round, which is rapid fire, and we'll talk about it shortly. So, so some tips and tricks which you would like to give to the people who are aspiring to be journalists.
So, as earlier I mentioned, read a lot, and still it will not be enough. Apart from that, if someone is aspiring to be a journalist, start, if you are in school or college, internships. Okay, start applying for internships, right from the school days or college days. As I'm the prime example for that, and I'm really fortunate enough to get that thing in place, because journalism is all about experience and practical knowledge, which you will never get sitting in a class in a lecture. Journalism is something which cannot be taught; it can be practiced, and you can only practice by working. So internships becomes very crucial. I started working in Newsmobile as a trainee, as an intern, in my final year of graduation, and I was working part time throughout the year. So that really helped me push. Gave me a big push start when as soon as passed out of the college, and because of that, as the day I cleared my college, I got I was made the news editor, which is very unlikely in many cases. But I was fortunate enough to get get the internship, get the opportunity. Newswell gave it to me, and I'm really fortunate enough. So that is something which everyone should keep in mind, that just intern, just be practical, just keep practicing stuff. Okay, keep writing. If you are at school, if you're still studying, start writing notes, start covering stories by yourself, start questioning everything. If you're watching television debates, disclaimer, I would prefer not, I would suggest not to consume news from television. But even if you are consuming, then start questioning what they are debating about or what they are reporting about. Start reading newspaper, okay, all the time. So those are small things, but when you are keep it together, it gives bigger huger results. So that is the key for any aspiring journalist.
Thank you. I think these are really great tips, and I'm sure people who are watching our show and who want to be journalists, they will sure be benefited by it. Okay, now let's do something fun. It's a super fun and quick quiz. So we'll ask 5 questions, and you have to. It's a rapid fire round, and I guess you already know.
I hope it. Okay, I hope it's not. So it's not that coffee with current type, which might land me in controversy. Anyway,
I'm sure you can handle it really well.
I guess.
Okay, so let's start. Describe journalist role in 3 words.
Well, honesty, integrity, and what could be the third one? Honesty, integrity, and punctuality. Yeah, a journalist got to be punctual.
Cool. What's the superpower of a journalist?
The pen used to be a superpower of a journalist, but as we know, everything has gone digital, so pen is no longer the superpower. Literally in literal terms. But I would say the knowledge is the superpower of any journalist, and the words. Mm-hmm. So let's sum it up as words are the superpower of any journalist.
One misconception about this role?
It's I'm forgetting the word. Wait, it's not glamorous at all. People think like from outside it looks really glamorous, but it's not. It's not. Yes, at some point of time, and there are few journalists who get that stardom, but it's all myth. It's all myth. For those people as well, the journalists who have gotten that kind of a stardom, that larger than life figure, I would say, they have really worked hard to reach there, and it's kind of a myth. Like, it's not real, I would say, in case of a journalist.
Yeah. Okay, so what's your favorite journalism style or genre?
I'm a digital journalist, so I would say digital journalism. If I want to choose from three of them, because I can I have a defense for that. Digital journalism gives you ability to read, which is there in newspaper. It gives you ability to watch, unlike just like television. It gives you ability to listen, like radio. So all the three aspects of journalism are served through one, which is called digital journalism, or the new media, which is a technical term for digital journalism. Journalists use is new media. So new media is my favorite.
Okay, and the last one, a fun fact about yourself.
A fun fact. I don't know if it's fun, but yeah, like I just sleep for 4 hours. Okay, there are few, like you can pick one from out of those things. I can open a beer bottle without an opener. I can eat a whole pizza by myself. I am a multitasker. I can do, like, I have done 5 stories in one go. So I'm that kind of a multitasker, and yeah, I sleep for just 4 hours. So.
Cool. I think they were really fun things, and it was a great conversation. I hope it's also really insightful for all the viewers and all the people who are trying to get into this role. Really good insights, in and out of this role. So thanks a lot, Abheet, for sharing your experience.
Thanks a lot, Veena, for having me over. And I would like to say to anyone, just stay positive, and everything. Anyone who's aspiring to be a journalist, it's a great field. And it's really fun to be a journalist. At least in India, I can say, you get to know so many things. It's a great experience. So yeah, it's really right. So yeah, I'll be looking forward to whosoever is coming in the field.